constantly got weak or tight hamstrings, I'm going to show you the most effective lengthening and strengthening exercises that your hamstrings can benefit from. So give these a go and do them regularly. First one, let's begin with the good morning. The reason why I've got the dowel here is just going to keep us a little bit honest in our back. So having the dowel resting on top of your upper back, and we want to keep our chest proud and stick your tail back. Now, as we do our good mornings, we don't want to round out our back as we hinge. Hence, this is why we got the stick to really just cue us to keep that back straight, stick your tail back. Slight bend in the knees if you've got a tight lower back and hamstrings. Hinging forward, find that end range, maintaining your neutral spine. Once you get to your end range, we press our heels into the ground, come back up, all right? So just gradually find that end range of yours. If this is your first movement of the day, it may not be very far. We want to do 10 of these. So you can keep your eyes just forward, not necessarily looking down or straight forward, just have your eyes in front. And notice I'm going slowly and controlled. We're not rushing this movement or this pattern, keeping your back straight. I want you to really feel this through the hamstring here. Pressing through the heels as you come up. 10 times all up. And pressing through the heels, coming up. Slight bend in the knees if you need. Okay. Once you've reached your 10, we press through the heels, coming up. Now, if you've got any weights, go grab a relatively heavy weight, because when it comes to our lower body, we can always work with far heavier than our upper body. Now, we're gonna go with an RDL, just with a kettlebell. From here, let's have the weight just in front of our thighs. Feet are about hip width distance apart, shoulder blades drawn back. Same thing, we keep that spine in neutral. So it'll help, you might stick the tail back, especially when we're carrying a heavy weight and when we're not really controlled in our spine. We don't want to be lifting too much and arching our back here. So from here, keep your back straight as you can, tail back. Slight bend in the knees as we hinge forward, sending your hips back. Find your end range and press through the heels, squeeze the glutes at the top. Now, we want to feel this in the hamstrings and not in the lower back. So if you find that the lower you go, where you're rounding out your spine, come to a point where you can maintain that straight back. You should feel this in the hamstrings and even in your core. With a weight this size, it's relative to all of us, but I would start off with about 8 repetitions to really get the pattern in your RDL or Romanian deadlift. Once we go something a little bit heavier, this is where we really need to get everything involved. But for now, let's just go with our hamstrings, our lower back, keeping the chest up. Pressing through the heels as you come back up to the top. Here's 4. Squeeze the glutes at the top. Keeping the weight close to your shins here. So if we have them a little bit too far forward, this is where our back may have the tendency to round. So keep it close to your center at the moment. I'll do a couple more here. Down, hold, squeeze your glutes at the top. Down with control, hold for a count. Come back up to the top, bringing the weight down. Okay, if you find that you're a little bit tight behind the knees when it comes to doing some hamstring work, this is where we'll do the elephant walk. So I'd suggest grabbing some blocks. You may even need to grab a bench, really depends on where your range is, but having your block or 2 blocks on the higher end and having your hands rest on top of it, hinging forward. Like I said, if you have a higher bench, especially if you've got tight lower back and thighs, grab a higher bench. Resting your hands onto your blocks or bench, we bend both knees, keeping your hips low. One at a time, let's straighten one leg, hold for a count or 2, bring it back to the middle, both bent. We go over to the other side, couple of counts, back to the middle. All right, I want to do this about 30 times in total, so each leg will straighten 15 times. And yes, your hips are naturally just going to come up as you straighten one leg, but we want to see if we can keep the hips as low as we can. So we're not bringing them up like this and throwing our chest forward, because that's becoming more of a lower back thing. We want to focus on the hamstrings. 15 times on each leg. Bend both legs, you straighten one, bring them back in. This is a very patient exercise you need, especially if you're tight behind the knee. This is a great one to begin with. You don't have to hold at that 2 count, but you just got to move slowly and controlled. And you will find, as you go further into your repetitions, you might be able to go a little bit further. Just work within the range that you currently have. All right. 15 times each side or 30, all up. When you're done, walk your hands to your legs, slowly coming up. Okay, for the next one, we'll go with the good old runner stretch. This is where the bench is gonna come handy. Otherwise, if you are a little bit tight there, maybe where you rest your leg on is a little bit lower. So I'm gonna start with my left leg here and step your leg out a little bit more to the side to give yourself some space as you hinge forward. Our other leg, I like to point it out slightly just to give me a little bit more space, and the bottom leg slightly bent. Same cue, we keep our back straight. So tail back, chest up, we hinge forward, over the leg that's onto the bench, and up. Down, hold, and up. I would say 10 repetitions on each side. If you like, you can load it up by having a weight on one hand or in each side. So if you want to use a weight, I'm gonna hold one weight on the inside edge. So keeping that back straight, I'll go for 10 repetitions. Have a slight bend in the knee if it's a little bit too strong for you. Pull those big toes towards your shins. Keeping that back straight. Here's 4 and 5 for 6. Really keep that chest up for 7. I want this to come from the hamstrings, not the lower back for 8. For 9, at the 10th rep, we hold at a range that we can maintain our form in. So if we're gonna be like over here bending our knees, that's not where we wanna be. Find the range where you can maintain a straight back and get the hamstring working for a 10 count. And where you can maintain your breath. Once you've done your 10, you go over to the other side. So in my case, our right leg comes up now, left foot points out a little bit to the left diagonally, keep that back straight. I step the leg out a little bit more to give me some space. For 1 and 2, for 3, for 4, for 5. I always like to keep my eyes forward. For 6, for 7, for 8, for 9. I hold at the bottom for a 10 count. For a 10, 8, 7. At a range I know I can maintain good form. And coming back up. All right. Last one, we'll finish off with an ostrich walk. This is a fun one that I like to do to really challenge our hamstring range. Now, start at one end of the room. You want to be able to walk forward all the way whilst being in a forward fold. Look, you might need your blocks if you find that, okay, you're very tight or you can't reach the ground. You're going to use the blocks as your reference point to touch the ground. So we're going to come up slightly, step 1 foot forward and hinge. Coming back up, step the other foot forward in front and hinge. And then over to the other side. Use the blocks if you find that, okay, you find that you can't reach the ground just with your fingertips. Otherwise, if you can, see if you can go a length of the room that's about 3 to 4 meters there and back. So, reaching forward, and look, if your back rounds, that's totally fine because this is going to be a strong move here. We're going to see if we can really get the palms to touch the ground. The back leg could be slightly bent. As long as your front leg is the one you're working on, we keep it not necessarily locked, but straightish. Okay, walking the length of the room. I'm not going to try to get out of the camera. I come back the other way and I walk back. So look, I'm gonna leave it up to you how far your distance is, but if you can walk at least 8 meters total, walking forward and keeping it even on both the left leg and the right leg. There we have it, fam. Those are the moves we suggest we do to get strong and flexible hamstrings. I suggest to do them for about at least 3 rounds or 3 sets in total. 4 sets, even better. And you can do them about twice a week. You don't need to do them every day. It's just about getting our hamstrings familiar with each pattern and getting strong in each exercise. All right, fam, if you like that video, make sure you give us a like. Let us know what you thought in the comments section. Share this video who you think can get good value out of it. And make sure you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our videos. All right, fam, until the next video, have a great one. See you later.